Hello everyone and welcome to Daria Draws. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure where to begin because things have been a bit hectic lately since I decided to participate in the World Art Dubai Art Fair, and I knew about it just a month before the actual fair. And I don't have enough works. That's what I realized when I took that decision. Because the things I've been doing lately are kind of small, they wouldn't really look good in the big space that I wanted to book. And I didn't want to book a smaller space because it would look a bit cluttered and unorganized, and that's just not how I want to display my works. So I've been thinking, what else could I possibly paint in such a short time? I mean, a month is nothing, especially when you need to paint more than one work. And I wanted to do something that was quality and that was exciting and something I would genuinely be proud of and enjoy making, because you can always tell when art is fake and it's just done for sale. And that's not how I want to present myself to the world. So my thought process began in my room, as always, in my studio room. And I thought that I have these parrots hanging that I did about a year ago, these guys. And I really like them. They're really comfortable to live with and look at every day. They don't get old. You don't, like, your eye doesn't get tired. And I wanted to do something like that was kind of timeless, and yeah. So I thought of doing an animal, but I didn't want to make another bird painting because it would be kind of too many birds for no reason. And I thought of doing a mammal, but painting my cat was kind of boring because I've done it so much over the past 3 years. I mean, I love him, but maybe others will not. So, and then I kind of started thinking, my thought process started spinning from there. And somehow I came to a conclusion that I need to paint a rabbit because on Chinese calendar it is the year of the rabbit, and Russians believe in that kind of stuff too. And yeah, things just kind of came together. But the question was, how should I integrate that rabbit into a painting? I'm not gonna just paint a sitting rabbit. That's kind of boring and not, it's blah. And I like things to be interesting and fresh and fun. So I was thinking that I should maybe paint a floating rabbit because I never have these concrete backgrounds. They're always very abstract and floating, and so the viewer doesn't get distracted from the main focus of the painting, which would be the bunny. And so I decided to do two of them, kind of like interacting with each other, but I didn't know how exactly. So I started just randomly sketching, and I made a bunch of different versions of almost the same composition. And once I was happy with what I saw, I proceeded to the canvas. And that's pretty much a short story of how this idea came to my mind and why. Because painting under pressure is something that I'm no longer used to. Like when I was in the Arts Academy, you kind of had deadlines that you needed to meet, like end of semester, and you had to show your stuff to the professors. But not anymore. Like, even with commissions, you can be very flexible. So yeah, here it is. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave it a thumbs up, comment it. Yeah, that helps the channel grow, keeps me motivated to post more. As always, I'm starting off by positioning the objects onto the canvas. In this case, we have the rabbits, and then I will proceed with a slightly more detailed sketch. As you can probably tell, even at this very early stage, they're kind of positioned in a way that they're chasing each other, and that is why I decided to call the painting Chasing Luck. And just to keep things a little more interesting, they're going to have different fur colors as well. And this is just an aesthetic shot of me mixing the paint for the background. I pre-mixed two different greens. One will be colder, which is on the top, and another, which is warmer, will be at the bottom. And that was it for the first session because it was getting kind of dark. It may seem like the technique is very modern, but the principles are very much traditional. Like, I'm starting off on the painting process by highlighting the shadows, just marking them, going all over where it needs to be a bit dark. And then I'm covering the rabbit with the first layer of fur. Also, I can't not mention the fact that I had a shoulder dislocation at this point 2 days ago, and it's truly art through suffering. Moving on to the midtones, as you can see, I'm covering some of the spots, but I'm leaving that background peeking through just because I want to bunnies seem like they actually are moving and they're not just frozen in the air, and to have that kind of unintentional moment. Also, I'm using some of my smaller brushes for this artwork since I want to give direction to the fur as if it was laying on top of bones and highlight the anatomy just a little bit, and to give it additional movement, of course. The process with the white bunny is a little bit different. I decided to go in with that grayish tone, and then I went on top with some texture paste, which added additional texture, obviously, and some dimension. It may seem like I'm using black paint, especially on the camera, but I like to make my life a lot more complicated than it may seem. So I'm using a mixture of brown, a bit of black, some purple, and a little bit of like a reddish brown in there as well. And probably the most fun part, yet the one that has the least pressure on me, is the background. It may seem like I'm putting all these little strokes in random places, and they have to seem random, but they're really not. And I'm using these strokes of different shades of green in order to highlight the shapes of the rabbits. Once the previous layer dried up, I am going in with my favorite semi-transparent brownish red layer to highlight all the texture that I've done with the texture paste and the paint, and to create shadows on the white rabbit. One of the little tricks I love to do is to use a smaller brush and to just kind of add the strokes as if they were done with a pencil, and it makes the painting look a lot sketchier and livelier, and just gives it like a little extra, just a little extra life, to be honest. And of course I have to also add some lights to the fur. Even though the bunny is already white, I'm adding even more white. I never use pure white, I always mix it in with a little bit of blue or yellow or any other color, just because pure white is never used like on its own in painting. So I'm following that rule as well. And it's the same thing goes for black. And just making sure that the structures are all right, adding some details, maybe some little hairs, whiskers here and there, and that will pretty much be the end of the process. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.